Hey everybody, it's Doug Green and I'm the publisher of Technology Reseller News. And I'm very pleased to have with me today Brian Garofola, who's the CTO at Vibes. Brian, thank you for joining me today.
Doug, thanks for having me. A pleasure to be here.
Well, the topic is RCS, but we're not just going to be talking about the technical issues of RCS or an announcement. We're going to be really taking a look at this from a big point of view. The headline is that Vibes is pioneering the adoption of RCS for business and businesses in the U.S. market. And we're talking about RCS as much more than just a place to go and send someone a message. So Brian, let's dive right into that, and then we'll talk about Vibes and so on. Why do you think RCS is much more than just, a place for me to send you a message?
Yeah, I think, we talk a lot about RCS as a platform, and when you actually get the chance to experience RCS, what you'll see is this idea of quick replies and quick actions create a much more app-like experience, contrary to what you might think of as a messaging experience, right? And so now we have this great combination of the ubiquity of messaging, right? The broad reach of messaging, where it's just in my messages app, right, where I'm texting my mom and dad, but I have this great functionality of apps. And so RCS fits at this intersection. And that's why I really think it's just much bigger than just a messaging channel. If you treat it just as a messaging channel, you might miss that opportunity. And so we've been looking at through the lens of, okay, what was great about apps, right? The interactivity, the taps and the carousels and those things, the ability to perform functions, but distribution was hard, right? Getting app downloads, getting people to keep your app on their phone, getting them to use it regularly, that was hard. What was great about messaging? Well, ubiquity, right? Everybody does text messaging, especially in the United States, but the functionality was limited, right? To just text, or if you're running an MMS, just an image, maybe a really low resolution video. So now we've kind of got this hybrid world of the best of messaging and the best of apps. And that's where where we think about RCS as this next great application platform.
Now, in this context, we before we started our podcast today, we discovered that we've been talking about you guys for at least 5 or 6 years. What is Vibes, and how are you connected to the RCS market?
Yeah, Vibes is a provider of SMS, MMS, RCS, and mobile wallet solutions to a broad range of customers. We really exist as kind of two separate business units. One of our business units is what we call Vibes Connect, which is direct connect text message aggregation. There are a small set of directly connected companies to the carriers in the text message ecosystem in the United States, and Vibes is one of those. We route billions and billions of monthly text messages for a wide range of CPaaSs and technology companies, and that's one business unit. And then the Vibes platform is a mobile marketing and customer engagement platform that allows companies like Chipotle and Ralph Lauren to engage with their consumers, for marketing, loyalty, order notifications, and a wide range of engagement. So we really have those two business units. And Vibes is unique. It was started it's still founder-led, started by the co-founders in almost 25 plus years ago, with the whole thesis that wireless and marketing would intersect. And back then it was wireless. Today it's mobile. And they were pioneering the use of this technology way back in 2001 by sending coupon codes to pagers for Pizza Hut. And so their philosophy has not changed, and they've been true to kind of that core mission of mobile or wireless. And now this device is an extension of you, right? And it's where you transact, it's where you connect with your family, it's where you do your banking. And so we still believe that's where the best place to create engagement. So Vibes, very unique company, long-standing company, headquartered here in Chicago and founded here in Chicago. So,
and we speeded up to that history, right up to last fall. You guys made an announcement on Tier 1.
Yeah, so Vibes, given that we're a directly connected aggregator for text messaging in the US with our direct relationships with, the major wireless mobile network operator for SMS and MMS, as the announcement came out that Apple was going to support RCS on iOS 18, the carriers also announced that they were going to start supporting RCS, A to P RCS over their networks. And the natural evolution was, okay, well, we're going to keep the direct connect aggregator model. And, we engaged with the carriers and signed our agreements to remain as a direct connect tier one aggregator of RCS messaging as well. And so that's exciting because that makes, this available to all our wide range of customers that are looking for access to this channel. And so we've signed many addendums of contracts with our customers so they can start routing RCS messages, and they're connecting to our API and starting to use that functionality. So we're excited to kind of be leading the charge in this new frontier.
Now, you mentioned just a minute ago about some of these larger enterprises. Are they actually using RCS in this way, like Chipotle and Kohl's and so on?
Brands like Chipotle, Kohl's, Ralph Lauren, they are some of our earliest adopters. They have programs that are getting ready to launch, I will say, in the US on RCS. And they're taking a really great, I think, approach to testing and learning, right? So they're trying to be very scientific about, does what works in RCS, right? I think the mistake, like I said, is if you're just treating RCS as a messaging channel and doing the exact same messaging you do over SMS, you may miss on that. And so what works in RCS and what drives ROI might be slightly different than what works and what drives ROI in the SMS world. So we're really excited about these programs getting ready to launch. Obviously, it's been it's been a complicated launch with the carriers. We still have at least one carrier that is not launched fully. So we kind of can still reach 2/3 of the market, but they're right there testing and getting ready to launch probably within the next weeks or a couple of months here. So we're really excited about it. The brands are excited. We want to take a really scientific approach to testing and learning with these brands.
So it's still early days, but it's like one of these things where it sounds like you wouldn't want to be left out. There could be a tipping point here that happens pretty quickly since the technology is kind of ubiquitous.
I really do. I mean, I think it is, once you start to see some major brands launch RCS agents, if you take maybe a company like a Chase, and if Chase starts sending, RCS messages for fraud notifications, I think there'll be some dip in the trust that people have in, say, a short code and then especially a long code, right? Now I get a text message from a phone number, and I'm used to seeing the company's logo and a verified check mark in RCS. Once you get that kind of consumer behavior and psychology going, then I think it really starts to take off, and probably we'll see a big hockey stick. But it is certainly early days. I used the word frontier earlier. That's a bit of how I feel about RCS right now, particularly in the US, is, we're all headed west, right? And there's lots of opportunity, there's lots of land, and everyone's trying to claim their land and trying to, but at the same time, the ecosystem's trying to establish some laws and trying to establish some rules, right? So it definitely feels like a little bit of the Wild West in the early days of pioneering. So I do use those words on purpose because I do feel like that's the analogy that exists in my head, and that's how we're thinking about it, right? It's experimentation and opportunity to arrive first and claim a great piece of land and make a living off of it. So
now, to your point, though, the those large companies, those large brands, people should always understand is they're very methodical. They're before they really basically talk to their customers with this, they like to find out every aspect. That said, we do have readers. I don't want to sort of work our way down through our readership.
Yeah.
We do have many readers that hail from these larger type of enterprises in the private sector, also in the public sector. I'm thinking in my mind, there could be all sorts of public sector applications in education, government, maybe even paying a parking ticket for a city and
Sure.
so on. So, for the enterprise, what do they need to know? And should enterprises be talking to you right now?
Absolutely. I mean, I think we are really at the forefront of this. We're engaged with the carriers and mobile network operators. We're engaged with the vetting and verification agencies, right? I mean, really the first step is, apply for an agent, right? And because the first step is that getting your brand verified and vetted, right? You are who you say you are. That's a process, right? Once that agent is then verified, now we can take the next step, which is getting carrier approvals, which is what are you going to do on that agent, right?
Right.
And then you can start the experimentation, the creativity, right? So I think there's that first step, and that area, that process is still being refined, but that process takes weeks, certainly, and so. If you're starting now, you're not doing anything until June, let's say, on that agent. And if you're interested in doing something for around the holidays, well, probably good to
Now's
start
the
that
time.
conversation, right? So,
Yeah.
at Vibes, we're building a lot of tools. What I've personally spent a lot of time building RCS agents, writing coding to the the APIs, to our API, and really testing and learning from a technology perspective. And what that's driven is we're building the tools that, well, I ran into a lot of problems as I was doing that, and had to solve those problems. And we've taken those problems and we're creating a platform that will allow an enterprise to launch RCS agents without any code, really, is our goal, right? You don't have to write any code. You can log into our platform. You can configure connections to your APIs securely. You can configure views and messages. You can configure how your agent will respond to different taps or different types, right? We like to say tapping is better than typing. It's a much more smooth flow experience than having to type everything out on my phone. And then, once you build that and author that, you can host that right on our platform and then launch that. So we're taking this what could be 6, 9, 12 months of software development cycle, and we really believe we're going to shrink it down to days. And so we've got the tooling to do that. And that's, again, goes back to this thinking that RCS is a platform. It's more than just a messaging channel.
Now, Brian, do you, for our channel partners that are watching, is this a possible opportunity for them to bring this to market to smaller enterprises and even medium-sized businesses?
Absolutely. I think an RCS agent is a great way for a small business who doesn't have the funds to build an app to have an app-like experience, right? If you're a small company, maybe you're a small donut shop in Chicago, and you want to do some online ordering, right? And you're like, well, I don't have the money for an app, and no one's going to download my app because I'm a mom and pop donut shop. An RCS agent is a really great way. So I think for channel partners or resellers who service those markets, this is a great add-on to your product portfolio. And again, Vibes has the tools in which you can service your customers in a very white glove consultative type of experience. It really reduces your costs of development, your cost of ownership, and you can sell this as a subscription out to those customers, right? And there's a couple of different ways, obviously, that you can monetize that and commercialize that at a per message basis, or maybe even at a per transaction, right? Using that donut example as well. Every time somebody places an order, we're going to take a little cut of that order, right? Rather than trying to charge you per message, right? So lots of opportunity exists, and we're providing the tools for a lot of those resellers. A lot of our CPaaS customers are really interested in these tools that we're building, but it's a complete RCS tool suite. Think of it as a studio for provisioning, authoring, and management, monitoring, and of RCS agents.
Brian, as we wrap up our podcast today, I was struck just a minute ago when you were talking about the small restaurant, the donut store, right? Everybody who's ever talked to one of the entrepreneurs that runs these places, they make a little bit of money on the DoorDash and Uber Eats and other services, but they are kind of stuck. They kind of need to use those services to get those online orders, and yet they lose a lot of money. And if they were able to offer their services essentially direct, that'd be great, but they lack the size and time to basically develop anything. So are you saying that you could actually provide a platform, the partners could actually resell a platform where a donut store could do pre-ordering?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I use that donut example not by accident. Our head of product here at Vibes, his brother runs a donut shop in Chicago called Beacon Donuts. And, he's super excited about the potential of RCS giving him an app-like experience when he doesn't have the finances or the financial structure to support app development, right? And so the Vibes platform will make this available in a no code or low code, no code environment where you can build these, load up your menu, choose the options you want, build a connector into your point of sale, again, without writing any code through your point of sales APIs, whether that be a Toast or a Square or something like that, and be able to launch that and really get great ubiquity, right? So, and great reach. So definitely, that type of customer, and if there's channel partners out there that service that long tail customer, it's a great option. And our platform actually also allows you to template those. And so if you had a lot of down market ordering customer or restaurant customers like a donut shop, right, you can kind of take that and create that as a template and really be able to roll that out at scale. So lots of opportunity. Again, it just goes back to that reach and app functionality and that wonderful intersection, and creates new opportunity for a lot of different companies.
I know I've glommed onto this, but I think, this is very important for a lot of people in our market to observe, that when you get to a technology that can be applied to no tech companies that are small and have no resources, then you've got a very big market, because it's not just donut shops, it's the thousands and thousands of small businesses that, they don't have any technology. They don't think of themselves as a technology company. There's just one or two person shops.
Right. Well, I think even broader than that, companies that are technology companies who say, our business and our differentiation is in, say, auto dealership management software, or it's in human resources management software, and they want to make their capabilities available of RCS, right? Their expertise and their differentiation isn't in RCS and messaging, it's in these other industries. And so if they can take tools like we're building and bring their capabilities or their features and functionalities to their customer base over RCS, much quicker, much lower cost than, definitely think of your applicant tracking management system, your ATS systems out there. And when people are applying for jobs, right, and they say, hey, you need to send us your resume, can you upload proof of work from these things? To be able to do that over RCS in a more secure channel that accepts larger attachments and media, great opportunity there to really improve the experience, the candidate experience when hiring. So I think endless opportunity, right? You think roadside assistance and uploading pictures of an accident, right from the roadside. All things that are possible, much more difficult today over the constrained ecosystem that is MMS. And so now you really unlock that and the ability to to respond more easily, to tap instead of type, right? So the ideas are endless, and I think that's where the kind of the channel partner ecosystem is really exciting for us. It's it's everyone that serves these different verticals, they can create all these different industry specific experiences.
And again, it's sort of small to large. As you're talking, I'm thinking, but airlines being able to talk in real time to their customers that they're rebooking with the app, and you doing this on the platform. So that's a very large application, but maybe down to small rural school districts and so on that just need to communicate with parents,
Right.
not just on a snow day, but basically, an option, sign the form to go on a field trip,
Right.
things like that. So,
Yep.
endless things. So this is really cool. There's so much more. We're actually going to do a little short podcast that will be the companion piece to this. We'll do that in just a second. It'll be both available on TR. But for now, we're going to wrap up this podcast. Brian, where can we learn more about Vibes?
Just hit us up at vibes.com. We have a bunch of information about RCS there. And we will make sure to, I believe that the Vibes RCS agent is live on 2 out of 3 of the major carriers. And so you'll be able to subscribe to that Vibes agent and experience what RCS has to offer over the Vibes agent yourself. So hit us up at vibes.com and you'll be able to find more information.
Well, thank you very much indeed. I'll look forward to actually watching that video. But for now, thanks very much indeed.
Thanks, Doug. I appreciate you having me on today.